how did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not disclose their source.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
Diddy sent those to 50?
Diddy was like funeral flowers.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt. My favorite villain? I kind of like Diddy.
There are no misconceptions about it.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up.
Jay's definitely.
Jay helped you?
Yeah.
How did you
As a
help him?
competitor.
Explain it.
Yeah, because he never was someone that you communicate with that you're like friends with the person. But I always respected him because he was never an actual competitor in actual fact. He was someone who was a competitor through perception.
How close was Diddy and Jay-Z? They was close enough that they wasn't playing basketball. They wasn't playing baseball. They wasn't playing football. And they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z.
And B was, one time she jumped off of the ledge, came running over because she thought me and Jay had issues, and I was like, what the? And I was like, did she really just jump down and run over here like that?
Beyonce jumped off a ledge.
Yeah, it was in the Cosmopolitan, huh?
She really a superhero.
She jumped down and no, she was like, this what? Like that Bonnie and Clyde for real? You try this or what, boy? I'm here.
Word.
She looked like at me. I said,
Was Solange with her?
She looked at me like that. I was like,
A new storm is
But now, he's making it clear the focus may be much bigger than one individual. This time he's hinting that the spotlight could expand toward figures like Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Oprah Winfrey, icons whose names have long circulated quietly, but rarely faced direct pressure. The tension escalated when 50 Cent suggested he holds new footage tied to the same inner circle linked to the Diddy situation, claiming the recent documentary was only the beginning. Then came a message that spread rapidly online. Your next instantly the speculation took off, with many assuming it was directed at Jay-Z and Beyoncé, raising urgent questions: why now? And what changed according to long-standing theories? The answer may lie within a tightly connected network of influence, built on power, privacy, and long-standing alliances. As audiences revisited the Diddy documentary, many began noting how often the same elite circles overlapped. Shared ventures, private events, and exclusive industry spaces, where the same figures consistently appeared. Now 50 Cent is signaling that those once seen as untouchable may finally face renewed attention, as past moments, overlooked details, and unanswered questions are being revisited. And if his claims hold weight, this could be just the start.
These were private conversations, and that he and Diddy could talk openly, and Mark could talk to Diddy not just as a client, but as a person, and tried to guide him in a time leading up to his arrest. And unbeknownst to Mark Agnifilo, Diddy has got this guy recording the conversation as he's sitting there saying, you are screwing this up. You are messing up this case. We're losing. And knowing that that's on tape. And it's almost like he's performing for the camera and not telling Mark what's going on. And the really enraging part about it is that Mark Agnifilo won this case for Diddy with legal strategy. It wasn't just an accident that this jury that had heard all of this in the news before the trial voted not guilty on all the serious charges. It was Mark Agnifilo that did that. Yet Diddy secretly records this guy and embarrasses him. And yeah, you could say, well, Diddy never expected that it would end up being broadcast somewhere else. Well, okay, but Diddy was planning on using it, or he wouldn't have had it recorded in the first place. So it's just really, really unfair. And I know that in a way this sounds crazy that I'm getting so upset about Diddy, and yet there's video of Diddy beating Cassie. Well, that's horrendous, but that doesn't mean you can't look at something else as well. And I just think, as a lawyer, I just think this is just so outrageous that he would do something like this, and not even understanding what Agnifalo's legal theory was. Because I will tell you that when we did our first documentary on Diddy, which was 8 months before the trial, Mark Agnifalo said to me on camera that he is going to tell this jury that this was a successful black man that prosecutors were trying to take down because they couldn't get into his bank accounts because they were clean, and he couldn't deal with they couldn't deal with taxes because he wasn't committing tax fraud. So they go into his bedroom. And that's what Mark Agnifalo said 8 months before. And he goes into the trial, and he essentially wins that argument, whether you believe it or not. A jury that sat through the whole thing, they believed it, and ultimately they convicted him on this BS Mann Act thing. So Diddy won that case. And one of the reasons he won the case is something that Agnifalo got criticized for. That when he did the documentary with me, he was making a joke about the baby oil. Remember, he said, oh, well, I didn't know he bought in bulk. He must have bought 1,000 bottles at Costco. And a lot of people just slammed him for that and said, how dare you? You're being disrespectful. The baby oil is the smoking gun in this case. Agnifalo knew all along that the baby oil was Diddy's best defense. Because when Agnifalo got before that jury in closing arguments, he looked at them and he said, well, the feds came in with their armor and artillery and guns. And what did they do? They got 1,000 bottles of baby oil off the streets. Ooh, he said, the streets are safer now. And the jury laughed. And that laugh told Agnifalo he should keep going on that. And that the trial itself was absurd because the baby oil...
Fans also recalled that 50 Cent had long pointed towards certain inner circles in Hollywood, suggesting that influence at the top often comes with quiet protection behind the scenes. That idea is now hitting harder, because 50 has shown he's willing to bring things into the open. After lifting the curtain on Diddy's world through a widely watched documentary, his words carry more weight than ever. So when he posted "You're next," it didn't feel like noise. It felt like a signal to understand why. You have to look at the history between 50 Cent and Jay-Z, a rivalry that stretches back to the early 2000s. From the start, their relationship carried tension, with claims that 50's rise faced resistance within the industry. Moments like Jay-Z's Summer Jam freestyle only fueled that divide. And from that point forward, the distance between them never really closed. Over time, their paths split in a major way. Jay-Z evolved into a behind-the-scenes powerhouse, moving through business partnerships and elite networks with calculated silence, while 50 Cent built his influence as a bold, outspoken figure using media, television, and direct commentary to command attention. Two completely different approaches to power. One quiet and controlled, the other loud and confrontational. And that contrast is exactly why 50's recent hints are being taken seriously. Because when he chooses to speak, history shows he rarely does it without purpose.
His sights on someone new after the Diddy Netflix documentary. If you aren't aware, 50 Cent has been getting insane feedback from the Netflix documentary he made on Diddy. Sean Combs' The Reckoning is what it's called, and it's #1 all over Netflix, beating even Stranger Things. Diddy himself has responded to it, saying the stories are false, of course, denying everything, and even trying to do a cease and desist on the Netflix documentary. And after this Diddy documentary, a lot of people have been wondering who's the next person that deserves to get exposed. And Jay-Z is the one that a lot of people are pointing their finger at. And the reason why Jay-Z has been getting a lot of this type of backlash is because Jay-Z was really close to Diddy. At one point, Diddy was even calling him his brother, and that Jay-Z's the only one that can call him his real name, Sean. That maybe there's something on Jay-Z's side that has been going on behind the scenes. Now, there hasn't been any solid proof yet, but Nicki Minaj has been going at Jay-Z for quite some time, talking about Jay-Z is manipulative and he steals, and he's been pushing a narrative, and that Roc Nation has control and power over a lot of things. And I can kind of understand where she's coming from to a certain extent. We got to remember when Jay-Z went up on the Grammy stage and said Beyonce never won Album of the Year and complained about that. Literally the following year, Beyonce wins Album of the Year, which is just something like that doesn't show you that there is some power going on there, that there is something behind the scenes that Jay-Z controls. It's clear as day that it's all politics on who wins Grammys, who gets the better light and things. So that kind of opened my eyes, as to Roc Nation's power and how they manipulate things in the media. I'll never forget Jay-Z would get this like special treatment all the time when it comes to the media. I mean, Hot 97, when they interviewed Jay-Z, they literally rolled out a red carpet. They never did that for any other artist. So Jay-Z's always had this kind of special treatment when it came to things. But now the question is Jay-Z involved in crazier things? I mean, there's been a lot of speculation in a lot of different ways, and people are pointing their attention towards 50 Cent wanting him to do a Jay-Z documentary. And it looks like he might actually do it, because on Instagram, he posted a drawing of Jay-Z that kind of makes fun of his looks. And he posted that photo and he said this in the caption: "Please stop sending me stuff like this. I'm not going to post it." Basically making a joke, because obviously he posted it on his social media. But, and here's the interesting but in this, is someone commented on the post, and the comment got liked by 50 Cent. And this is the comment. It's from Dom KMDA. I hope I pronounced that right. Dom Kamada. He commented saying, "My only question, he's next, isn't he?" And 50 ended up liking that comment. And here's the thing. I actually saw this on Twitter and X, whatever, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. And I wanted to confirm, is this real? Because a lot of people Photoshop these type of things just to create drama and create this speculation. So I actually DM'd the guy himself, and I showed him the photo, and I asked him, "Hey, is this a real photo? Did 50 like your comment?" He said, "Hey, yes, he did." And I was like, perfect. Thank you for confirming. Thought it was Photoshopped. Well, appreciate the response. And he said, "I was surprised as well. Didn't see that coming." So shout out to him, for, responding to my DM and confirming that, the comment actually got liked by 50, because, a lot of people Photoshop and spread narratives. So me being the proper journalist, or whatever you want to call me, news reporter, I, wanted to go get to the source and see if it was actually real. There's also something that's very interesting that went over a lot of people's heads, and that's the documentary coming out on December 2nd. That Diddy documentary coming out on that date. Literally 2 days later, you have Jay-Z's birthday, December 4th, which to me sends a subliminal message to Jay-Z that you're next. So that's crazy. That just, to me, shows that 50 is potentially gonna work on something going at Jay-Z, and he might get Nicki Minaj involved, because Nicki Minaj has a huge issue with Jay-Z with a lot of things, and I don't even know the full details of that, because she's gone at...
As the years moved forward, Jay-Z continued strengthening ties with some of the most influential figures in entertainment, including Diddy, Oprah Winfrey, and others connected to major media and corporate power. And whenever 50 Cent sent something he felt wasn't being openly addressed, he responded in his own signature way, through sharp humor, subtle jabs, and cryptic posts that kept people guessing. But this time felt different. For the first time, 50 Cent issued a direct warning toward Jay-Z, hinting that he may be holding material that could place the Carters under serious attention. That alone shifted the energy. Fans quickly recognized this wasn't typical behavior, because 50 has built a reputation on following through. When he says he has something, it usually leads somewhere. That's why the spotlight suddenly intensified around Jay-Z and Beyoncé, with speculation spreading rapidly online. Then another name entered the discussion. Oprah Winfrey. People began questioning why she was now being mentioned alongside this circle, and the answer traces back to resurfacing criticisms tied to Oprah. combined with 50 Cent's long-standing public stance toward her. Over the years, he's openly argued that her influence has been applied selectively, often pointing to how certain stories were highlighted, while others received less attention. He referenced her involvement in high-profile documentary work, drawing comparisons that fueled debate among audiences. On a personal level, their history has also been distant, which only adds to the narrative his supporters are building now. For many watching this unfold, it no longer feels like separate conversations. It feels like pieces of a much larger picture starting to connect.
He was running with that whole crew. They want to know how we're going to do it, how the public is going to take him. Is the public going to let him back in? And the public is not. The public is already canceling him. I don't believe the industry has canceled him yet. All those people who went to those Diddy parties, not one of them had came out and denounced what he has done. I haven't heard one of them. I have not heard one person denounce, well, man, let God handle it. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here with that. If that was your daughter, would you let God handle it? All those people, they ain't denounced him. They ain't definitely, they can't come forward and say, yo, I support him. Cause it would mess up their brand. It would mess up their brand. Jay-Z. We the only one could call each other Sean. Jay is the only one could call me Sean. I'm the only one could call him Sean. Get the hell out of here. If that ain't no fun boy stuff. But you ain't had not one person, brother, not one person sit there and denounce what he did. But
the story runs deeper. Over time, multiple criticisms have resurfaced about how Oprah Winfrey handled interactions with several black celebrities. Ludacris once claimed his interview was edited in a way that shifted the message, while Dave Chappelle suggested he felt pushed to frame his experiences in a way that didn't fully reflect his reality. Monique has long argued that industry doors closed for her after Precious and Taraji P. Henson openly spoke about being underpaid for the color purple. 50 Cent has consistently backed these concerns, pointing to what he believes is a pattern of selective focus. Past controversies tied to Oprah's Leadership Academy in South Africa also drew public attention years ago, adding to ongoing debates about her influence. At the same time, various online claims have circulated, many later proven false, but they've still contributed to public discussion. Now with 50 already spotlighting one major figure through a global documentary, some believe others could face similar scrutiny, especially after he hinted that future revelations may involve unexpected names. What's fueling this speculation is how often these powerful figures have crossed paths, shared events, interviews, and public support that individually seem routine, but together are now being viewed through a different lens, as audiences begin connecting the dots again. Voiceover: Diddy and Jay-Z also maintained a long-standing business connection, moving through the same high-profile spaces, collaborating on music, appearing at exclusive events.
All right. Beyonce didn't want to speak and does not speak to Brandy. And the truth of the matter is that she go back there with Monica and Kelly, and there go Patti LaBelle, and then there goes Solange. All right. And there's a reason why Solange is around as well, because if you guys don't know, for a while, Solange and Beyonce actually were not on speaking terms, but they're back talking now. They're back cool. And basically Solange is around to keep Beyonce spiritually protected. Solange is the spiritual protector of that family. Don't get it twisted. Mama Tina is powerful. Solange is the most powerful list. You better ask some damn body. All right. Now, The reason why Beyonce ain't came to speak to Brandy, baby, is because Beyonce does not talk to anyone who used to sleep with Jay-Z. Okay. Whether you guys know it or not, and I have to say allegedly, right? Jay-Z and Brandy used to talk back in the day. And by back in the day, I mean like late 90s type stuff, right? Brandy always kept Jay-Z on the low back in the day because quite honestly, he was too ugly to be out in public with. I'm just keeping it real. To claim him publicly, he was too ugly back in the day. Now, when you try to search up pictures of Jay-Z and Brandy, you will find, hold up, let me see. Hold up. Let me see. Cause I thought I had a picture of them two. Brandy and Jay-Z. Now this would have been from let's see, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Brandy and Jay-Z. Okay, there we go. Now this picture of them was in 2002. All right, and this was I think was at one of her album release parties, if I'm not mistaken. This was a year after Moesha rap because Moesha went off air in 2001. Yes, he was dealing with Beyonce at the time as well, and Blue Cantrell. He was, let me tell you, Jay-Z was laying it low and spreading it wide. Jay-Z was one of those dudes in the industry that, you know, you messed around with. He piped you down. But before he was really him, you did not claim him publicly because he was just simply too ugly. It was what it was. But Jay-Z was in love with Brandy then. He's not in love with her now, but he still has love and feelings towards her. He's one of those people that feels like once he done had you and once he done loved you, he always feels like he has like possession over you. Jay-Z is one of those kind of men, baby. I don't know if they told you. Jay-Z is extremely jealous, extremely controlling, and extremely possessive. That's another reason why. Hold up. Where the picture go? Wait a minute. Where the picture go? That's another reason why Beyonce up here. Wait. Anyway, y'all get the point. That's another reason why Beyonce, over the years, a lot of the music that she's made, it's always been with him. A lot of the remixes, it's always been with him or somebody that he approves of her to work with. Okay. Jay-Z was so damn controlling. He didn't even want her father, talking about Matthew Knowles now, he didn't want her father managing her anymore. And he stepped in. And if y'all notice, when Jay-Z stepped in as Beyonce's manager, the music changed, everything changed, and the money started to get effed up. But that's another story for another day. We're not getting on that right now. We sticking with Brandy and Jay-Z right now. So they started messing around on the low in the 90s. Even to the early 2000s, they were still messing around. I'm not exactly sure which year the relationship officially ended, but just know that Jay-Z was just basically good for, that was what he gave. He gave big, I don't know no other way to put it, but he was like, for the ladies that's watching, you know, like if you ever dealt with like a tall, ugly with big pipe, you went to him to get piped down, but you would not like ever like claim him like that because he was just super ugly. It was what it was. And before he really blew up, didn't nobody want to be seen with him like that. It is what it is. And quite frankly, Jay-Z dated a lot of your favorite female stars from back in the day.
Diddy and Jay-Z also maintained a long-standing business connection, moving through the same high-profile spaces, collaborating on music, appearing at exclusive events, and operating within the same elite circles. Over time, many began to view these environments as tightly connected networks, where influence, opportunities, and alliances quietly intersect behind the scenes. And according to 50 Cent, those very circles are now starting to feel real pressure. That idea gained momentum when Ray J claimed that certain figures linked to Diddy were becoming uneasy about the possible existence of undisclosed recordings, suggesting that some major names were quietly creating distance as attention intensified as these discussions grew. Jay-Z and Beyoncé were repeatedly mentioned, not because of any direct allegations, but because of their proximity to these shared spaces. The same rooms, the same events, the same investment circles, and the same private gatherings that define the upper layer of the industry. In a world where connections carry weight, and simply being close can shift public perception, and now as past relationships are being revisited, many believe that figures once seen as untouchable are being viewed under a far sharper and more unforgiving spotlight.
Big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those trophies came rolling in, buddy. He started getting Grammys left and right, man. I mean, look, if you look at his career,
You're gonna let him say that. Jay was getting Grammys.
He had one.
Exactly.
He had one.
And he didn't show up.
He has like 20 now.
Hold on.
He had like 18 since he's been down. Look, he had one, bro. Hard Knock Life.
You're not wrong.
He was one. He got some shit. He's like drinking. His pictures with him. He thinks the cup.
Wait a minute. So you're saying the success is derived from the marriage?
I've absolutely been treated differently.
The accolades.
Because he's no longer viewed as what, like a street or gangster rapper. Now he's viewed as a businessman, entrepreneur, family man.
And the biggest ones because of the position Beyonce's.
Oh, wow.
Right? You were connected to the biggest.
Jay got it for the music. Jay got it for the music.
You didn't see.
He deserved those.
I'm sitting there, it was like this, like Black excellence. They're sitting there like, yeah. It's a billionaire brunch. Like,
I hate you, man.
Unaware of anything going on here. This is the one time I'm going to be with you this year. Yeah. Come on, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy. He just looking at his watch during the whole Rock Nation, bro. Like, is it 3:30?
Yeah, it's almost time to get out. Yo, I feel like I'm normal again. Get me out of here.
Oh wow! So that's the deal he signed, huh?
Yeah, that's the deal. Like the other ones didn't count as much as that one did.
Oh, yeah, before I forget this, we talked about Jay. Proximity to Diddy. You don't think he knew anything? He's seemingly around Diddy a lot.
That was a real suburb question.
I know, right? Proximity.
Hold on. Proximity.
Proximity. That's the SAT hit parade word. I had to learn that.
Do you think you knew all of the shit that was going on? Then I was like
I don't want to incriminate myself.
I know, but the way he said it,
like I said,
no matter how you answer that, you snitching.
That was a nice kind of question.
You asked the question like a fan.
hey, I grew up with white people, but one thing I know is how to get a black guy in trouble.
It's a great question.
Yo, just give him the Happy Meal before you ask him to snitch, bro.
He said, damn, they wasn't even drinking.
Speaking of, how the hell you pronounce
Lechimendois.
Okay.
It's the King's Path.
King's Path.
Because I know Branson. That's the one I pronounce.
That's the Branson lifestyle. You're gonna be outside.
You're not worried that if you throw little and you don't throw out allegations, but like you kind of poke fun at them.
You just ask questions.
You're not worried that it comes back your way. Like people dig up your past and try to pull stuff up.
I don't got that in my past.
Everybody got a little bit.
Look,
like,
I took a pill, but it was for me to perform better. Or to remember, buddy.
This is why 50 Cent's warning carries a different weight. It doesn't feel like random noise. It's built around patterns and connections that people are now starting to question more closely. The discussion brings together Oprah's past controversies, Diddy's growing scrutiny, Jay-Z's silence, and Beyoncé's carefully protected image into one fragile web of influence. And 50 has made it clear. He's no longer intimidated by Hollywood's power structure. He's aiming to challenge it directly. Many believed the Diddy documentary would stop at one figure, but that assumption didn't hold. And the ripple effect has been far wider, placing attention on anyone who shared space with him: artists, executives, creatives, and public figures who moved within those same circles. When 50 hinted that more projects are on the way, the reaction behind the scenes reportedly shifted. Not necessarily out of guilt, but because of his track record. He investigates deeply and doesn't back down based on status. Quiet changes followed. Legal teams revisited past matters. Public messaging became more controlled. Appearances shifted and old associations were subtly distanced. And those moves only intensified public curiosity. The questions are now louder than ever. Who was aware? Who noticed the signs? and who chose not to act. The documentary highlighted a pattern of concerning behavior over time, and with some later acknowledging they had seen glimpses of it. Which leads to the central issue. How much was known and how much was overlooked? And as long as 50 Cent keeps pressing forward, many believe the spotlight will only grow stronger, potentially bringing more names and more unanswered questions into view.
The 50 Cent Diddy doc. First and foremost, we've been talking about this thing, Jack, for going on 2 years now. And once again, thank you for even being, I guess you could say, a beacon during this whole conversation as far as kind of spreading light on a lot of things that go down in the industry that, you know, the normal person may not even see or hear about that happens in the day to day. Did you really think 50 Cent, when he first mentioned it, that there was an actual documentary being worked on?
Well, see, this is the thing. I can believe that it was happening. At what purpose? See, and that's the thing. Like, my opinion about all of this stuff is so much different than your average person's, and my outlook is so much different than your average person's. Did I believe that it was possible? Absolutely. Why wouldn't he be able to do a documentary? Why wouldn't he be able to bring in Alexandria to come and put this together? Like, the woman who directed this, she doesn't even seem to have a background in hip hop at all.
That makes sense.
So it's like, yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. I mean, for crying out loud, Diddy sent him freak off videos.
True. Very true.
Interviews
Very true.
about it.
Did you feel that just 50 Cent's name being attached to it again? These are two, as everyone knows, the three names in hip hop are Jay-Z, Diddy, 50 Cent when it comes to the status of where you could get as a business or a brand.
I guess so.
So for the top three individuals, for one to go at the other and release this doc, I don't know, what does that say to again, I keep asking about the hip hop state of things. What does that say to hip hop? Like, are we our own downfall? I guess I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It all depends on what you consider hip hop. Like, I don't consider any of this debauchery, any of this animalistic crap. I don't consider any of this hip hop. I grew up in hip hop. You know, I know what hip hop culture is, and it's none of this stuff that people are selling.
I mean, when did it stop being hip hop? We're going to go through the documentary itself, but when did it stop?
It stopped being hip hop when it became corporatized. It stopped being hip hop when certain groups of people saw that they could use it to influence the mass public. When people saw how influential hip hop was, it became very clear. Once upon a time, not long ago, where people wore pajamas and lived life, you know, the laws were stern and justice stood, and people were behaving like they ought to good. There lived a little boy, and he was misled by another little boy, and this is what he said: "Me and you, can we go make some cash, robbing old folks and making the dash?"
Come on.
Like, they did the job and money came with ease, but one couldn't stop us like he had a disease. He robbed another and another and a sister and a brother. Tried to rob a man who was a...
Jay-Z attended high-profile gatherings. Beyonce appeared at events tied to similar circles. And Oprah publicly supported figures who are now facing increased scrutiny. That doesn't suggest wrongdoing, but it does explain why their names keep surfacing in the same conversations. And in today's environment, repeated proximity alone is enough to draw serious attention online. 50 Cent has made it clear he believes this is just the beginning, hinting that more names could emerge. And then, given that he already challenged one of hip-hop's most powerful figures, many assume any next move, if it happens, would carry equal weight. The reason 50 stands at the center of this wave is straightforward. He doesn't depend on access. While others built influence through alliances and carefully managed images, 50 built his position through independence. His ventures operate on their own. His relevance doesn't rely on approval. And that freedom allows him to say publicly what others keep private.